This is Note-Taking Guide 2.2 for Math 1. So today what we're going to do is we're going to solve equations that have variables on both sides of the equal sign. This is a really simple thing to do because really in any time we solve an equation, our goal is to isolate the variable. So I want you to notice right here that you have x's on this side and you have x's on this side. You can't have them separate from each other. Our goal is to get them together so that they're isolated. So I always look at the variables, choose the smallest one, and move them to the other side. So in this case, the smallest amount is 2x. The 2x is positive, it's attached by addition. So I'm going to subtract the 2x's to be over on the other side with the 9x's. So 9x minus 2x is 7x. I still have the plus 10 on this side. Over here on this side, 2x minus 2x is gone. It's 0, which is why we did this. And then we're equal to the number 73. Now this is just like last night's homework where we're just going to finish solving the equation now. Once we get the variables on one side alone, then it's really easy to solve the rest of the equation. So I need the 7x by itself, so I have to get rid of the 10. To get rid of the 10, I undo it by subtracting it to the other side. So here I have 7x, the 10's are gone because they add to be 0, and over on the other side, 73 minus 10 is 63. Last step, 7 times x. To get rid of a 7, I'm going to divide because it was multiplied. It divides out to be 1x right here. I don't have to show the 1 in front of the x. And then 63 divided by 7 is 9. So my solution is x equals 9. So again, first step, always isolate the variables. So if you have variables on two sides of the equation, move them so you don't, okay? So here's a negative 5x on this side. Here's a negative 2x on this side. So I always like to move my variables so that they stay positive. So I can see if I move that negative 5x to the other side, then I end up with positive amounts of x's instead of negative. So I'm going to take this negative 5x and move it to the other side of the equation by adding it over. So on this side, I still have the 41. Those x's are canceled. On this side, I still have the 5. And then I have a negative 2x plus 5x, which is a positive 3x. I'm now going to finish solving like we did on last night's homework. So I'm going to isolate or get this 3x by itself. In order to do that, I'm going to first minus the 5 over. So 41 minus 5 is 36. It canceled over here. And then I just have the 3x left over here. 3x is 3 times x. How do I get rid of times by 3? I do the opposite, which is divide by 3. So I divide both sides by 3 here. It cancels over here to just 1x. And on this side, 36 divided by 3 is 12. So my answer is x equals 12. I could plug it back in up there and it will work. If it doesn't work, it means you did some work wrong somewhere and you should resolve it. All right, this next one has a set of parentheses in it. Anytime we have a set of parentheses, we want to multiply through to make sure that they're gone. So I'm going to take this and distribute it through to both parts inside the parentheses. So 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 1 is 5. So instead of having this part right here, I'm going to write that as 10x plus 5. And then that will be equal to 9x plus 8. And now that I have it to this point, it looks exactly like the last ones we solved. I have x's on this side and I have x's on this side. So I just have to decide which way to move them. I always like to move them so they stay positive. So I'm going to subtract this 9x over to the other side because to get rid of a positive 9x, I have to do the opposite, which is subtract. So 10x minus 9 is just x. I have x plus 5 left on this side. The 9x's are gone on this side and I just have a positive 8. I don't have to show the plus sign in front of it anymore because it's not attached to anything, but it still is positive. The last step on this equation is to get x isolated, which means move that plus 5 to the other side. I move it by doing the opposite, which is subtract. So x equals 3 for my solution because 8 minus 5 is 3. Okay. Next problem has 2 sets of parentheses in it. So again, you guys, exactly the same thing. Get rid of those parentheses first, then isolate your variables and solve your equation. So over here, we're going to take that 2 through to both parts. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1 is 2. I don't know why I'm writing plus there because it's or equals there because it's actually a plus sign. That's my bad there. And then over here on this side, I'd have 4 times 2x, which is 8x, and 4 times 3, which is 12. Okay, when I have distributive property that I have to kind of multiply through, the next thing I want to check and see is if there's anything that I can add together before starting to move things. So on this side, I have that 2x and that x that are like terms. 2x plus 1x is actually 3x, so I'm going to rewrite that as 3x, and then I still have this plus 2. And then that way it's just easier to look at and you don't lose any variables that way. So now again, I just want to move the x's so they're all on one side together. So if you notice, you have 3 of them here and you have 8 of them here. I like to grab the smallest amount and move them so they stay positive. So a positive 3x is going to be subtracted over to the other side. So I get 2 equals, then 8x minus 3x is 5x, and then I still have plus 12. This problem is a little bit longer, but we're doing okay here. We still are just going to solve it like usual now. So get rid of that plus 12 by subtracting it to the other side. And 2 minus 12 is a negative 10 equals 5x. How do I get rid of the 5 attached to the x? Well, that's multiplication, so the opposite is division. Divide both sides by 5, and I get x on this side. And on the other side, I get negative 2. All right, this next one is a perimeter problem. So if you remember, perimeter is adding all of the sides around the shape together to get the length of the outside. So it says find the value of x so that the figures have the same perimeter. Well, the first thing we need to do is to find the perimeters. So we're going to find the perimeters of each of these shapes, and then if they are the same means we could equal them together. So then we'll just equal them together and solve the equation. So I'm just going to go around this perimeter here and combine my like terms here. So how many x's do I have? I have 2 plus 3 plus 2. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 x's on this side. And then I have 10 plus 8, which is 18. So the perimeter of that triangle is 7x plus 18. So now I'm going to find the perimeter of the square and set it equal to it. So on the perimeter, we know on squares, rectangles, any kind of quadrilateral that is a parallelogram like this, the opposite sides are the same. So this side has to be 3x and this side has to be 2x. So I have 3x plus 3x, which is 6x. So 6 and then 7, 8, 9, 10. So the perimeter of this one is 10x. So I'm going to set that perimeter equal to the other perimeter, which is 10x. Now, you guys, it's important to notice right here, you have x's on both sides. You have them here and you have them here. If you move the 10, then you don't have anything on that side of your equation. So in this case, you really have to move the negative 7x to the other side, or you're going to have an equation with nothing on it, and it causes you more work. So I'm going to move it that way. I get 18 equals 3x. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And I get x equals 6 for my value that will give the perimeters the same value. Okay, the last one, find the value of x if the perimeter is 40. Well, if the whole perimeter around the outside is 40, then I need to just find what the perimeter is. This side has to be 15. This side has to be x plus 2. So let's write an equation and equal it to 40. So here I have an x, here I have an x, so that would be 2 x's. 2 plus 2 is 4. Those would add up to be 30. So 30 plus 4 would be 34. And I know that the perimeter is equal to 40, so I can set it equal to 40 and just solve. I'm going to subtract the 34 over to the other side. So I get 2x equals 6. Divide both sides by 2, and I get x equals 3 for my value of x. Good luck on your homework today, you guys. Thanks for watching.